So yeah, it's on the screen. Is the media playing with your emotions? If you ever seen the movie Friday, there's a character in there, Smokey, played by Chris Tucker, and then there's the Big Worm. He was the local drug dealer, and he was driving up to collect his money from Smokey, who was a local distributor of the product, and he actually didn't have the money for it. So there's a part in there, if you know the movie, it's like, you're playing with my emotions, Smokey. And I think that's what the media is doing with us right now. Being in the marketing business, you understand what the marketing business, you see what they're doing. So, I felt compelled to at least get on and say, hey, what's up, Jimmy? Hey, thanks for coming on. To come on and to be like, stop the madness. I mean, come on. First, understand what the media is. Let's start there. The media is a business, right? And the media is in the business of selling information or news or entertainment, right? In this case, they moved from, there used to be a time when it was more news. It has always been a way to control people's emotions. Let's be honest. I mean, you go back to the fireside chats with Franklin Roosevelt. He moved a nation. All the way up to when President Kennedy asked not what you can do for your country, but or what you can do for your country, like that speech, right? And he did it right here, actually in Houston, Texas. And he moved a nation, and 6 months later, we were on the moon somehow, right? At least conspiracy theorists don't believe that, but I'm convinced we did now. But understand the news, and if you're a reader like me, get out there and understand. Number one, that they're controlling your emotions. Number two, if right now, just media is just full of political divisiveness, right? Because there's the Democrats and Republicans. They created that system on purpose, because if you can divide people, it's much easier to control them than is it if everyone is together. So they create polarizing issues. But understand this: they are both just different wings of the same bird at the end of the day. And when you say you don't like people who lie, please come on here and put it in the comments and show me one person, not just the politician who has never lied, anyone on the planet that has never lied, that's still living right now. You can't do it, because that's not true. But notoriously, if you ask anyone on the streets to tell me something that you don't like about any politician, not just anyone, what you disdain about them, and you ask 100 people that question, 100 of those people are going to say, and somewhere in this phrase, that they lie. So when you say you don't like Barack Obama because he lied, or when you don't like Donald Trump because he lied, well, then they both lie. So then it's just, is the lie benefiting you? Being a lover of sports and going back to the 70s, the Pittsburgh Steelers were playing the Houston Oilers. Yes, the love you Blue fans. If you're out there, give me a little thumbs up. And Mike Renfro caught a ball in the end zone, and they called it out. Had we had instant replay back then, where they actually could overrule it, it's a high probability that the Houston Oilers would have went to the Super Bowl that year. But in the room, when I remember it very distinctly, because I was a huge Houston Oilers lovely blue fan. And Warren Moon actually came after that. This was Dan Pastorini, and Gifford Nielsen was his backup quarterback, who's now a newscaster. And if you were a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, no, that was out. If you were a Houston Oilers fan, that was in. And you see that. You do it yourself. Like when your team is playing another team, that was a strike. And if it was your guy at bat, no, it was a ball. So it doesn't change the fact that we are all creatures of emotion. I recently read a book about Robert Greene. Read all his stuff. He is a little Machiavellian in his talk, but most of the stuff's true. And it's called The Laws of Human Nature. And human nature comes down to emotions. We are controlled by chemicals and electronic impulses in our body, right? No matter how logical a thinker you think you are still, at the end of the day, an emotional creature. That's it. So the media knows that. So let's say this. We understand I don't think anyone did disagree that the media is in the business of making money, and they make a lot of money, right? That's number one. Number two, if you're in a business that sells people's attention to someone else, you have to figure out a way to get the most amount of people's attention. It used to be a lot easier because there was only 3-4 stations. So you could actually really be closer to the truth, let's say. They still use it to control you, though, at the end of the day. But now we have the information has been democratized that anybody, as long as you have this little device right here, and please feel free to put your comments in the you got questions, you got comments. I'd love to hear them. Feel free to put them in there. If you're out of state, put where you're at. I see we got Jimmy and Gary on right now. I know, Gary, don't be afraid to have an opinion about the media. I'm not asking you to have an opinion about a political figure, because it seems like these days somebody can't say they like somebody without somebody just totally blasting them and calling. Watch. I listen to Ben Shapiro podcast, and I listen to Joe Rogan. I listen to all different sides. I listen to Jordan Peterson. So I don't listen to just one side, but there is there is an actual, I don't know if it's an official law, but it made up one. It's called I think it's the Godwin law. The Godwin law is how long it takes someone in a conversation to go from the beginning of that conversation to mention something about you being Hitler or the Holocaust, somewhere in there. It's like a law. Like when somebody's eventually going to say that, if you, especially in the political arena, if they don't agree with you, it's crazy. So anyway, so I digress. So you understand, number one, that the media is in the business of making money. So if you know that is what their goal is, how are they going to do it? They sell attention to advertisers. They get the most amount of people. So if you wonder, how does Kim Kardashian make all her money? How do basketball players who get sponsorship? And for that matter, how do basketball players make millions of dollars, and football players and movie actors and those people? Because they garner a lot of people's attention. And then those networks take all those people's attention, you and I, they package it up in a little bow, and they go to Coca-Cola, Ford, Chevy, drug companies, all of those people, and said, hey, you want these people's attention? We got a lot of this many, and it's these people, and here's how much it costs. And they charge them a lot of money. So media is in the business of collecting people's attention and selling it to advertisers. Well, it's gotten a lot harder for them to collect people's attention because it's dispersed now. They're on Facebook. They're getting their information from many different sources because it's been democratized. So now they have to be a little bit more salacious. They have to appeal to your deeper emotions and keep you enthralled. I mean, you may be this person. Let me say something. You may be this person. Whenever you see an incident happen in a city you don't live in that has absolutely no effect on you, but they make you feel like it does. That's something that happened in another city, that someone you don't know, something that happens actually pretty much every day. And then they control your emotions with it. And they play it nonstop on television 24/7. And you can't stop watching it. You know why you can't stop watching it? Because you're an emotional creature, and they got you. They figured out there's one little emotion in there, that it was a dog that got killed, or kidnapped, or there was something in there, peppered in there was something that they knew was a deeply held feeling or emotion for a lot of people. And they got you. And they're playing with your emotions, and you're letting them. So what you need to do is stop watching that crap and use your brain. Use your brain and be logical. I mean, come on. Whatever side you want to be on, use your brain. Think. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that's what Kanye West was thinking. Whether you like Kanye West, whether you like Donald Trump, at the end of the day, he was saying, black people, use your brain. Don't let Sheila Jackson Lee tell you what to do. Don't let Maxine Waters tell you what to do just because you associate with her because she's African American too. You can think. There's African Americans that are sincerely wrong. They're sincere in their thoughts, but they're sincerely wrong. Just like there are white people and Asian people and Hispanic people that are sincerely wrong. And it's so easy for you, because we got this little device to verify and some information. That's number one. So you verify that something is true. And, I'll give you an example, and I'm not for either way. So the Kavanaugh case, right? You had a lady come out, said that that this gentleman sexually abused her 35 years ago. I don't know if she did or she didn't. You don't know if she did or she didn't. The only two people that actually 100% without a doubt know is her and him. She says he didn't. She says he did. And he says he didn't. Take that back to your home. I have two sisters, and right? And I'm standing in front of my parents, and my sister says, he did it. And I said, no, she did it, right? What is the deciding factor if you wanted to get to the truth? You're going to gather information, right? As a parent, you're going to look for information. You're going to look at you do look at, like, and if you know your kids, they can't lie very well, though. So that's probably a bad example, but it's just a concept or point, and you're going to get to it. But what if one of your sons said, well, Jimmy and Frankie and Stephanie were there, and they can verify that I didn't do that. And you're, well, okay, as a parent, call them up, said, hey, little Randy says that you were there. And they say, I wasn't there. What? You weren't there? You sure? Nope, I'm sure. So if I text your parents and ask them, they can verify you weren't. Yep. That'd be their punishment. Their parents find out and punish them, right? Yep, I'm certain. Okay, then go back. You say, the other person, do you have anybody? Like, no, I don't. Just me. I'm telling you, I have this. I know that I wasn't there. That's not something I would do. I didn't do it. You're back to just two people saying that they didn't do it, and the other person now has a lie attached to it. Which one do you believe? Well, if you are biased to your son, you go, well, my son, he did say that he was at school at 3 o'clock, but it was actually 2:30. You go, so he did kind of tell a lie. I'm like, but was that the equal lie? I mean, an equal lie compared to the lie that the other person. Like, damn, two lies don't make a right. I mean, I agree. You got to use your damn brain and stop letting these people control you, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. At the end of the day, understand that you're getting information through the lens of the person who's holding the camera, right? Think about that for a minute. If I am the information provider, I control all of this, right? Whether it's I go, Don Lemon or Sean Hannity, they control the message, right? They can go in and just stop the message where someone said, I did, whatever that statement is, and they just cut off the rest of the statement. And then you come back and you have a whole panel of guests and talk about how polarizing that was, but they didn't give you the full context. And then you go over to CNN and it's the same thing, but it's the opposite side. At the end of the day, understand this. I've been all over the world. I talked to literally hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people over the life of being a flight attendant. I literally did. Because you're talking to a lot of folks, and worked with people from all over the world. I mean, there were times when I would fly 6 flights in one day and have to sit next to 6 different people all in one day that I just met 5 minutes before I took off on that flight. And you got to get to know them. And you find that everybody wants the same thing. I mean, honestly, pretty much everybody wants the same thing. But you can start splitting those things if you throw emotion at them and you get their emotions up. Because, they're saying emotions go up, intelligence go down. Media knows that. So they push motion. And eventually, even the smartest cat can be pushed down. And you know what they say? You argue with a fool, you start looking like one. So don't argue with fools, because it's foolish. I did a post a couple of weeks back. It was 2 guys, and they were standing across from one another, and on the ground was a number 6. If you were looking directly at the ground from this perspective, it looked like a 6. The gentleman on the other side looking at it, what do you think that would look like to him? It looked like a 9. So the context of it was, don't argue, discuss, right? They were arguing, no, it's a 6. And the other one's like, it's a 9. Both of them were absolutely right. But had one of them had stepped out of the emotion of wanting to be right and said, let's discuss and discussion. You hear this shit all the time on the media, but they ain't trying to discuss crap. They just trying to argue with you on both sides. But if someone were in that example was able to step out of it and come back in it and look at it and say, okay, hey man, come over here. I just come see it from my perspective, just for a minute. You go, okay. And they stripped away all of their emotional baggage and their predisposed stuff. And they came over and they looked at it and said, what do you see? You look, hot damn, it is a 6. Dude, come check out mine. They did the same thing, went over there, hot damn, it's a 9. Dude, we've been arguing about this. Our perspectives are all different. I think that's, at the end of the day, the media knows that everyone has their own perceptions, their own perspectives, their own biases. So what they do, remember, they're in the business of making money, is that they just play on all that. And you play right into their hands. If you don't believe me, if you've ever been to a movie and you walked out of that movie emotionally moved, or I know like Rocky, you come out and you're just like pumped up and you just want to go kick somebody's ass, or you walked out of the Notebook and you were just sobbing during the movie. At the end of the day, it was all fake. Nothing about that movie was real. They were all acting, and they were playing on your emotions. And you went and paid $13, $14 each to sit in a dark room with 100 other strangers to be emotionally moved. You know why you did that? Because we're emotional creatures. And the media knows that. And guess what they do? They play on your emotions. So what you can do, if just one person watches this and they they're whatever side they're on and they stop the madness. The first thing you do is just stop watching that stuff. Just stop watching TV at all. I promise you, it's going to change your life. So what? You don't know what's going on. Who cares? You know what you need to know? What's going on in your life. It's too short to be wondering on what's going on in other people's life. Wondering what's going on in things that you can control. Wondering what's going on in your community. Keep up with your community. Keep your communities clean and safe. Don't be trying to fix Pittsburgh if you live in Houston. You don't live in Pittsburgh. You live in Houston. Fix your neighborhood. If your neighborhood has people throwing trash, tell them to pick up that damn trash. If you got kids that are doing shit, go talk to their parents. Tell them, hey, look, I don't like your kid, over here, throwing shit in my yard. And clean up your own neighborhood, right? Respect your own areas. Respect your own kids, right? Hey, if we don't like the way that our children are being grown up, it's not a kid issue. It's a parenting issue. Who parented them kids? It ain't the kid's fault. If you don't like it and you don't like your kids, you probably need to look inward. See that emotion that stings, doesn't it? It does, because it's the truth. I mean, I have a kid. She's 10 years old. Everything that she will turn into is all things that I had a major amount of control over, like how she reacted, training her and her mom, and the environment that I put her in. And if you want to let the media keep playing with your emotions, then you can continue to be a victim. And victims never get anywhere. All victims do is die alone, complaining, bitching, and they never live a productive life. And people who don't have a victim mentality and understand that, hey, we live in the greatest time in history. We have the most powerful device available to us, no matter what income structure we're at. We have clean water. We have clean air. We could 24/7 pretty much get anything. And regardless if you don't have a dime, you live on the street, you still can get medical care regardless of what anybody says. Here in Houston, you go to Ben Taub and they'll treat you. You don't have to have even medical care. And if you're on the streets, there's 56 places just in the downtown area alone that you can get food and a shower, right? And there's shelters, all of those. So even the poorest in America is way better than people in India, people in China, people in South America. Look at Argentina. They don't have any food in the grocery stores. And here we are bitching about what happened to somebody about something that we had no control over, nor do we care. Why do we care about what somebody got arrested for? I absolutely do not care, because it didn't affect me. It only affected me if I allowed the media to do what? Play with my emotions. So stop letting the media play with your emotions. Play with their emotions and stop watching their crap. So that's my message, my rant, my whatever. And you can agree with that or disagree. But at the end of the day, science says that we are emotional creatures. We're made up of chemicals. That's it. Chemicals. So, hey, hopefully somebody, hey, you disagree. No, apparently, hey, you got a couple of people here chiming in. Everywhere around the world is the same thing. Exactly. It is. They play with your emotions. And at some point, if and I'm going to sign off here because I got stuff I got to do, it's when the media, when you only have one side being told that, and it becomes fascist, right? When only one side is told. And when one side is pushing to get rid of the other side and the other side disappears, that's fascism, folks. That's when you look at communism, fascism. It's like no one else's opinion matters, right? So you should be okay with opposing opinion. That means you live in a free society. When you stop allowing that because of your feelings got hurt, let me say something about that. If you get your feelings hurt, so fucking what? Too bad. You're not going to die from getting your feelings hurt. You know what feelings are? It's damn emotions again. All right. Got to you and cause you to do that. If you don't want someone to have control over you, then don't let them play with your emotions. And it goes back to, you're playing with my emotions, Smokey. Hey, if you get a chance to put a comment in here, I'd love to hear it. I know if you're watching the replay, I go back and I look at them. But I'd love to hear what you have to say, what you feel about it. And if you haven't already read the book, go check out Ryan Holiday, Trust Me, I'm Lying, Secrets of a Media Manipulator. And when you listen to that book, and you'll have a very good understanding of how the media works and understand that they're playing with your emotions. Have a good Sunday, everybody.